Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema, now showing. Each episode, we highlight a brand new release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it. But don't take our word for it. Go see the movies for yourself. Mike, what's going on?
Nothing much. I'm still kind of nervous about taking on the mantle of Captain America from Steve Rogers. I don't know if I earned it. I don't have the super serum. America's counting on me to get things done. Meanwhile, a plot thread from 20 years ago is rearing its head, and I don't remember anything about that plot thread or its end credit scene. And yet here it is coming back to kill everyone, including the new president, Harrison Ford, once again on Air Force One. But this time there's no terrorist on it, becoming the Red Hulk, and now I got to beat him up. And also Giancarlo Esposito's there for added action, I guess. And that's my life.
Harrison Ford is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Heck of a name. I love that name. So this is Forgotten Cinema's first Marvel film, correct? Yeah, we have
correct. I guest starred on the MCU, another MCU a couple times.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if anyone remembers out there. Yes, I did a podcast called Yet Another MCU Podcast with my co-host Patrick Whalen, who we did the Infinity Saga. So we did 30 episodes maybe, because we did a couple bonus ones. So while Mike is talking about the plot devices that are 20 years in the making, it's like I remember that. I can't believe, because I watched it and we talked about it and we discussed it at length. So I had a little different, I guess, perception of when all that stuff started coming back. And I was like, oh shoot, that's from that movie. Oh, that. Yeah. So we can get into that a little bit. Yes. So we watched Captain America, Brave New World. We actually watched it in 3D IMAX, which I want to say the last 3D film I watched in the theater. Oh boy, man. I don't think it's Avatar, but that's the last one I remember watching in 3D.
We watched other ones.
No, because I don't remember sitting down and just watching a full straight 3D film. I remember popping into when The Hobbit did the 3D that was the 60 frame per second 3D. I remember popping into that in the theater and watching it, but I don't remember sitting down and actually watching a full on 3D film in quite some time. Maybe not Avatar, but it feels that long. That's how long it feels.
It's definitely been a while, and it's definitely a while since they put out one. Definitely a couple of years. Although I do think there was a 3D IMAX kids movie last year for a show, and I was like,
I think there's been a couple ones where the 3D is just that one show, and I think it worked out for us because we went on President's Day, went on Monday, and I wasn't working, so I was like, and I knew the movie was long, even though it's 2 hours. It's 30 minutes of trailer, so it's 2.5. I was like, let's try to see this in the afternoon, and thankfully 3D wasn't busy, and those two people that kept leaving the theater for some unknown reason. I guess this movie was boring for them, but then they came back at the end just as it ended. So whatever. Anyways, so we do these now showing shows a little bit different. We don't really kind of do the full on episode that we do for the normal show. For those who are unaware, we kind of it's just a freewheeling discussion about the film. Freewheeling. Mike, I don't know where you want to start. I know there's going to be some negativity, so maybe we should go positive first. What do you think about that? Is there a positive? How about that?
Yeah. We usually start with our general impressions of the film.
All right, well, then go ahead. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I think this wasn't a great movie, but nor was it the trash can that I think a lot of critics have said it was. It's really low rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't think it deserved that. I was making jokes about how, Giancarlo Esposito is kind of thrown in there. It's a plot thread from a long time ago, and all those things are true. And there are moments where it definitely seems like, there's definitely reshoot kind of things.
We are going to spoil.
Absolutely. We spoil now showings. This is a movie discussion.
So FYI. Okay, go ahead.
But generally speaking, I really like Anthony Mackie. I think he's great in Twisted Metal, but I think he's got a leading man charisma about him. I think he could lead this movie, head this movie up. Harrison Ford, I really thought he'd just go through the motions and collect a paycheck, which is, kind of what he does, is collect a paycheck, but he doesn't go through the motions, and he does a really good job as Ross, as President Ross. So, I mean, overall, I think I liked this movie more than I thought it was going to be, but that could be my expectations were so low going into it. But it's definitely a movie with a lot of issues. As far as post Endgame stuff, this is up there for me. Maybe, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of stuff post Endgame because so much has been bad. It's kind of ruined Marvel for me. I mean, I've seen most of the movies, maybe just the TV shows.
That's what's ruined. Post Endgame is all the shows.
But I think I really like Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was pretty good. But I would rate this not too far below Shang-Chi. Like it's got some moments. I just don't think they know how military works and stuff like that. But it's one of my biggest concerns.
I don't even know. Like the stuff that I know you were saying stuff in the movie, and I was like, I don't know. Like,
there's just some naval stuff that just
Just
when they're firing missiles at the missiles, it's like they have a missile deterrent system. There's turrets.
I don't know.
Just take these out like bullets. It's just like, come on. And also going up, we'll talk about the other stuff. But yeah. I was pretty positive on this movie, although like overall, it's just okay. But for a Marvel movie lately, it's pretty good.
For a Marvel movie.
It's got to grade on a curve. Anyone who's seen the show knows that I'm so marveled out that it's just like when I watch them, I'm like, oh, all right. And then afterward, I'm just like, another Marvel movie. So right now I'm kind of on a post Marvel glow, and that'll fade down to generic crap.
You should go back. I know you're not going to, but when we did the podcast and we had to go back and watch these films and actually just kind of, discuss them and get into them and dissect the films. I liked that because I was able to appreciate some stuff in the movies that I maybe either didn't care about or glossed over, didn't understand. So I softened on a lot of the films that I had watched previous because what these movies, they come out, it's like fast food. You devour it that opening weekend and then you move on to the next film. You don't sit back, you know what I mean? You don't go back and watch the film over and over again. You don't sit around and talk about it constantly. But for this film, the Brave New World, I know you didn't watch, but I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show, and they deal with, which was okay. But that show deals a lot with, I mean, he kind of talks about it in this movie a little bit about becoming Captain America, and they have the line in the trailer, which they clearly edited together from the conversation in the movie, because that show's not. I remember in the trailer when he's like, "You may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers."
Right?
Like, that's not in the movie. Whether they just cut it for the trailer or they just cut it out.
But it's in there, but it's said a little different. It's like, "You're no Steve." He goes, "You're no Steve Rogers."
Right. But I really like the line in the trailer. I thought that's a really good line. But the fact that that was just a trailer line, that bugs me now. But that whole idea was they kind of discussed that. That was like a lot of the basis of the TV show. Did he deserve this and all that stuff? So you don't really have that here. They have it a little bit here. So if people are expecting that, go watch the show, because that show has all that. And it does a pretty good job of that. And Mackey's good in the show. It's just the shows are not as good as the films. But regardless, we're talking about this movie. No, I have the same opinion. I did. It's not terrible. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Harrison Ford. It wasn't. Aside from Joaquin, which I was not a huge fan of him.
No, he was just like, I don't think it was the actor's fault. It's just, they're really trying too hard.
Right. There was a lot of stuff. There was a lot more early Infinity series stuff in this, in terms of character relationships, emotions, in terms of the storyline. Like his whole thing is about getting the Carl Lumbly character, I can't remember his name, Isaiah, getting him out, clearing his name. Harrison Ford is obviously the Red Hulk, which I think they did a disservice to the film by revealing that. I know, I understand why you reveal it, but in the movie, it's supposed to be a huge reveal at the end. So you kind of blow that when you show it in the trailer. But Ford isn't necessarily the bad guy, and I think he does a good job, and they do a good job of painting him as somebody as sympathetic and just, because the Ross character has been throughout the entire movie series. So, originally played by William Hurt. So you don't want to just paint him in that one paint, the bad guy brush, and then bringing back to Samuel Stern's character that we all met in The Incredible Hulk.
Edward Norton, Incredible Hulk.
Right. But I think that was pretty cool. I really kind of dug that. I liked that. I don't know why. When I saw him, I was like, oh, that's great. I like that he came back. I like that he was this, like, just really bad guy. Like, he was. Remember we talked about, and he's not on this level, but we talked about the Jessica Jones series and how I said to you that I think the David Tennant character is the best of the evil because he's just pure evil. Like, Stearns is a little bit like that when you compare him to the other bad guys in the movie, because he's just straight up murdering people and like not caring.
Yeah, and most of the motivations of the other bad guys are like vengeance, like justifiable vengeance. His vengeance is kind of unjustified homicidal maniac.
He just wants to ruin Ross's life. Like, he just, no
matter how many people he has to kill. Right.
It's not about domination, world domination. It's not about stealing riches. It's not you know what I mean? It's just straight up revenge. And it's kind of refreshing to have a bad guy in one of these films that's just focused on one thing and not like a big giant. It doesn't have to be this like. It doesn't have to be like this like huge, gigantic, evil plan to take over whatever or to be like the leader of something. It's just, I just want to ruin this dude's life. So I kind of dug that.
Just want to watch the world burn.
Exactly. So I didn't come away feeling bad about this film. I thought it was like, it's not bad. It's okay. I mean, for a film that had a ton of reshoots, had Sidewinder who was only into the movie during the reshoots.
Oh man, some of the scenes though that shows.
Yeah. No, it's not perfect. It's by far perfect, far from perfect, but it has enough decent action in it. It has enough, and I mean, Anthony Mackie makes you care about his Captain America. I mean, honestly, he should take the serum, but I kept saying that. But yeah, no, I generally I came out of the film when we watched it, was like, that's all right. Okay. All right. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. Yeah. So I think we both had the same opinion. But there are some things I wasn't a huge fan of. And that's preference and stuff like that. But why don't you go to what's your biggest kind of thumbs down or negative that you have in this film?
I mean, I've got a lot of like nitpicks with like the fact that Japan is the bad guy, but that's kind of like just like that's not how politics work in real life, or that's not how the military is work in real life. I guess my biggest complaint toward the film is Sidewinder is this villain, the Master is this villain, or Samuel Stern's character, who's the Master in the Hulk lore. But they really, like you said, they did us disservice by keep showing us the Red Hulk. And it's not like I wanted the Red Hulk to be in a ton of the movie, but the Red Hulk is in, I would guarantee you, less than 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Like
it was kind of a letdown to not see more of the Red Hulk, expecting the Red Hulk. I think that having it be a big reveal would have made that 5 minutes way better, because I saw half of those 5 minutes in the trailers leading up to this film. And I think the marketing for the film is probably the biggest problem with the movie, is that that's what everybody's waiting to see. I guarantee you that's some of like, I haven't read the critic reviews. I just really know the scores because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But I guarantee you that's going to be some of their issues is, where's my Red Hulk? And Sidewinder is just so thrown in there. And my other issue with the film, or not my issue with the film, the one thing I do like regarding the Red Hulk stuff is the main battle. The thing I cared the most about is the jet sequence, despite the fact that that's not how the Navy ships would work, firing on each other. Like, I thought that sequence was cool, and there was a lot of flying, and they didn't really spoil that for me. I thought that was cool, but I'd have rather have had that spoiled over the Red Hulk stuff, because that reveal should have been the big, like, what's he doing to? Is he making him a different villain? What villain is he turning him into? Even though in the comics, Thunderbolt Ross does become the Red Hulk, but still, you're like, oh, are they going to do it? Or are they going to pull a switcheroo? And they kind of fudge that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there clearly was a high level meeting, a decision where the question was, do we reveal the Red Hulk in the trailer? Like, what's more important for us, getting people in the seats or kind of playing the slow game because they're going to get there? See, I think that's like, does the fourth Captain America, does Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson's Captain America, is he going to bring people into the theater without showing the Red Hulk? I think that's kind of the decision, like what they made a business decision putting him in the trailer. But it's proven that it's making its money. I mean,
yeah,
it's just cleared 198 for world total. I mean, its budget's 180. You have to figure, if you're adding the marketing to that, that's like 360 maybe. So 300 maybe. So yeah, so it's got a ways to go. But that was a decision that they made. Yeah, I think I talked about the Joaquin Torres character, and you're right. It's not the actor's fault. It's not Danny Ramirez's fault. It's not. The Joaquin character is. I've seen this character before dozens of times. It's a trope. It's this one note trope of the eager assistant.
Oh my God, let's go, Batman!
Assistant. Yeah, like there's like it borders on like disbelief when he first shows up and he meets Isaiah Bradley and he doesn't even know the guy from Adam, and he just completely just starts ripping him, like joking with him about his age, that like he's known him for years. It's like when people we always talk about when we used to work at the theater and you had a new employee who was really familiar, like, oh, hey man, hey, what's go? Like, and you were just like, this guy's not going to last because it's bogus. Yep. It's all bogus. So was not a fan of that. The Ruth Bat Seraph character, the kind of, they say that she's part of the
security detail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The throwaway line. I mean, I'm sure I know she is a character in the comics,
and that's fine.
Must be another minor character.
Her introduction in this is exactly almost like when we first met Black Widow and Iron Man 2. So it's just, you're following a playbook here that you think we're not going to realize. And do you think that people that have been with this MCU is not going to realize, hey, you're just playing the hits and hoping that we won't notice. So, and that leads me to my other point in this film. This film, Mike, feels like a big kind of collective, we need to address about 6 things in the MCU to kind of set forth our agenda for the next 4 or 5 years. The Celestial 100%. Island is this. What's up?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. The Celestial Island is set up. It's finally talked about, which we saw in Eternals. And oh, wait, it's made of adamantium. So here we go with the X-Men stuff. And here we go with all that. Because for as soon as they said adamantium, you turn to me, Wolverine. I go, yeah, no kidding. Wolverine. But yeah. So they set that up. They talk about, what was the other thing they talk about? Well, they're clearly setting up like these new people that are coming in, but there's something else they did.
Sam remaking the Avengers.
Right. The Avengers. I want to bring the Avengers back. So that's put forth there.
I mean, they're wrapping up Daniel Stern. So that's like the last thread from Incredible Hulk.
Right. They're addressing things and from previous stuff, they're introducing things. So I feel like this movie's got a bunch of stuff in it we need to pay attention to. Like 5 years from now, people are going to be like, oh, that all started with Captain America, Brave New World. And it's like, again, the Captain America series is kind of hijacked again.
By the agenda, Marvel agenda.
Yeah, because like Captain America Civil War was pretty much like an Avengers 2.5, which is always the joke. It's not really his film. And then another thread is that the Incredible Hulk, and the Hulk never gets another movie, but the Hulk's storylines are throughout the MCU and other people's films. And
I think that's the issue. That's a universal issue, though.
They can't use it. Yeah, like but once again, You have him in this film. So this is almost like, okay, it's almost like you need to take all the parts of all these films and all these different MCU films that deal with the Hulk and just smash them together, pun not intended. And, and they're like, hey, this is your second Hulk film, but it's a collection of all these other films that you just have to find it. So it just feels like this film has another agenda, not just to tell the story of Sam Wilson, but to set up a ton of other stuff. And then obviously the end credit scene where they talk about the other worlds and Secret Wars and all that stuff. So
that felt so glued.
But you knew that was coming. That was coming.
Come on, just talk. I just hated the way the scene was done. Comes in, he was all battered, talking to Thunderbolt Ross in the raft, and then he goes down after the credits. He's completely healed in a different suit, even maybe the same suit, just no cast.
I think it's a different day. He's going to visit him.
Oh, come on!
I don't know.
He can't. He's still going to have the cast. He didn't take the serum. That puss.
He still should take the serum. Just take it.
I get the whole no, because Captain America was something was a symbol of hope. You're something to aspire to. It's like, that's great. That's great. But he's fighting giant monsters. He's not Jimmy Carter painting houses. He's getting killed by the Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my big point. Just kind of like the hijacking of the series again for the MCU agenda. And also just a lot of the paint by number stuff, a lot of the stuff that, was very tropey. But I mean, that's a nitpick. I mean, it didn't stop me from enjoying the film.
I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Isaiah, because they make a big deal out of, I'm not going back in the box. I'm not going back inside. He goes back inside. Then he gets put in solitary. And this whole thing about, I'm not going in solitary. You'll have to kill me first. And then he's in solitary. And the next thing you know, he's out. But it's like you even within this movie, because I knew about him from Winter Soldier, but I didn't watch Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I still kind of cared about him. He's in the show too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I kind of cared about his character just from the movie enough to I would have wanted at least one scene of him in solitary. You made a big deal about him going in, then I need to see him in more than just looking at the sunset from his small prison window. I just wanted one more scene with him in there. If you're going to reshoot and add all these other scenes, you're going to add a whole fight sequence in a junkyard with Sidewinder.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. With the battery acid. Yeah.
There's just felt so tacked on.
And then, it's Wilson's negotiating terms to Sidewinder, in terms of, reduced sentence and what person's going to, in what world do you have authority to provide that, Captain America? You're not a prosecutor. you can't offer that. But yeah, so that was a little weird there.
I'll get you if you get out. When I get out, well, if that's why you want to go to that prison, then no.
Is that? I mean, I don't know the comics, so I Sidewinder somebody you're going to see later on.
I honestly don't know Sidewinder off the top of my head. No clue. I would guess no. Is he that cool? I mean, I like Giancarlo Esposito, but he doesn't really seem very tough.
He looked tough.
Yeah, maybe he'll take the serum.
Take it. Take the serum. Just take it. It was nice to see Liv Tyler again. Very
for briefly. The second time, very briefly, like we did in our Ad Astra episode. She just makes brief appearances in movies now. Anything more than 4 minutes, she's out.
That's fine. I mean, she earns it. She played Betty. She's in the second one. She's in the second of the MCU film. She's fine. It was good to see her come back. Hey, it's Betty. Real briefly. Even if she was there, I don't even know if they were in the same scene together.
Harrison, act to this tennis ball on a stick.
Hey, Harrison Ford's good. And I know that he takes roles for the money and he says it, but he doesn't phone anything in. He's never phoned anything in.
He does a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's what you expect.
No, kind of like what you said was interesting, even in this role. Like you say, he's starting to play more sensitive characters that can kind of explore other facets now that he's a little older. I don't remember if we talked about that on one of our episodes or just off air. But
I've always said that, yeah, he should be taking on those type of roles. That was like 20 years ago. I wanted him to do that.
Yeah, which he is kind of now. And I even feel with Ross, there's a lot of sadness in his character that, you know, he wouldn't have played, you know, 20 years ago. He wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. But that was my point in the beginning too. Like that's a sympathetic, he's not the bad guy, but he's a sympathetic character that something's bad's happening to him.
Right.
And, you know, and so it's not like you're just like, yeah, boo you. You're like conflicted a little bit, like what's happening with him.
Yeah, he's a man that wants to change, that wants to undo the mistakes of the past. Yeah.
And it's clear in this film they're hitting on a lot of themes that are prevalent in society today in terms of like, you know, you don't have to like each other, but find some good in each other to kind of work together, that kind of thing, you know, work together. You know, he talks about how, you know, what did he says that half the country didn't want him to, wanted the Avengers to stay, but he didn't want them. But he's the president of everybody, not just the half that voted for him. So stuff that. So there's a lot of those themes in this. In the show, a lot of times you've probably seen it online in the Falcon Winter Soldier show. There's Wilson talks to somebody. He's like, you don't think I know what people who look at me wearing the Captain America, what they think of me, you know, what half the people think of me. Like there's a bunch of stuff that, and it deals with that. And he kind of touches upon that a little bit in this. So there's a lot of real world themes that are in this film and in the show that I think work well. And I think it works well with Captain America, that brand name, that because that's what Captain's all about. America, obviously America, but like he's a reflection of the very best of what
America can be. Right. Yeah.
Right. So I think that holding that theme for this film, when you don't have Chris Evans as Steve Rogers anymore, I think is good, is a really cool thing to do. And I think, like you said, like Mackie carries it. So it definitely, you know, pulls that off.
But that's why, you know, Cap chose Sam. That's why Disney chose, that's why Disney also chose, oh my God, chose Anthony Mackie. It's just,
Jesus, forgot his name already.
I was so bad at names. That like he has the charisma, he's got the talent, and his character is, you know, a military veteran, was a counselor. You know, he's got the same conviction that Captain America had for the country.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because we can all relate to the Captain America series in terms of these 4 films in the show, because, you know, it's somebody who's a real person dealing with real things, like, you know, gets this kind of like thrusted upon them, and plus they represent, you know, what you know, Americans, who they want to be, who they want. I don't know if it's because of that, like we can relate to them better than the Norse god. Or, you know, like, or the rich, the billionaire who builds missiles, like stuff like, maybe that's why that we can relate to that Captain America more. But it works. It pays off, and it works, and it's done well. And I mean, the more we talk about this film, the more I don't have any problems with character work in this film, or you know, not a plot, maybe more just the character work. I don't have any problems with the character work in this film, with the exception of the Ruth character, because I feel like she's just a Widow clone, and we're just supposed to be like, it's a new Black Widow. With the exception of her, everyone else is, and the Danny Ramirez, Joaquin Torres character, everyone else is really just. I enjoy the characters. There's no false notes there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I like Leela Taylor too. Her character, the Secret Service agent.
She doesn't do much. She's not in it that much, though.
No, but I like how she was kind of the person that calmed the president down, like in his ear, kind of a thing. Like, like I just on IMDb read that her character is actually Sam Wilson's on and off again girlfriend in the comics. So I guess we'll see more of her. But
he
I kind of like
somebody. Yeah. He said he had somebody. I got the sense that they were a couple or will be a couple. I got that sense.
Right. I get the sense that they had a history for sure.
Yeah. So that's cool. You don't have to hit us over the head with it. It's just, you know, it's there, and you're like, okay, you know, it makes sense. And that's not an Easter egg. Oh, what's up?
Were you also curious who the new president was? Like, if it was his vice president, like who was his vice president? Because I was like, did they not reveal that on purpose? Is that going to be another Marvel character?
I don't know, because I was waiting for that reveal. Maybe that's if it's in the comic. I mean, maybe that's. I mean, the president never really mattered in these things until he's the only time the president was really a main character. Oh, Iron Man 3, they go after him, right?
Do they? The president?
The extremist guys go after him. I remember them being I think they do. I think they try to go. I think so. Because I remember them being on the airplane and like
that's right. They attack Air Force One. Yep.
Yeah. So, but other than that,
it's been Congress or the Senate and the other Captain America.
It's been like Ross. Ross has been the guy that's that when they do the Sokovia Accords, it was Ross that was pushing that through. So, he's always been that kind of Congress guy. Or when they were doing like with Gary Shandling and all that stuff. Yeah, when they're doing the Hell Hydra stuff, it was always like congressmen or senators. It was never the president. So, who knows? Probably means nothing.
President's going to be Magneto. That's how the X-Men get introduced.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, we have to do another X-Men.
Yes,
like whole big thing.
It seems like they're slow burning it, so it seems like it's going to be a while. Well, since we seem to be at the end of our discussion here, I guess we don't really cover the Marvel films very often. So
no, we do not.
What are you looking forward to with the Marvel films? I know you're not a huge Marvel guy. I mean, I'm more of a DC guy. I'm more excited for Superman, even though I'm also nervous that it's going to suck. But what are you looking forward to in Marvel? Are you looking forward to Marvel? Do you want to see Fantastic Four, which they're going to shove down our throats apparently now?
We saw the IMAX countdown was the Fantastic Four countdown. Yeah. Is that a song from the show or something? Is that song from the TV show or something?
I don't think so. It's Michael Giacchino. Okay. I think he's just trying to, because it looks like they're kind of a brand in their world. Yeah. I think he's just trying to make something that's like 50s and kitschy.
No, I want to watch the Fantastic Four. I watch. Listen, I watched them all. I've watched the TV shows. I've watched. I've watched them.
Did you
all.
watch the Roger Corman one that got leaked online?
No. I'm not the Fantastic Four. I've watched the Marvel movies. So I know probably more than I should. But so I just don't know. I think my biggest thing is going into them. I don't know too much about Thunderbolts. I don't know too much about. I know obviously who's in Fantastic Four. I don't know too much about the bad guy or what to expect. So I think going into these films, not having a super expectations of them all is kind of helpful. So, but I think we talked about like it's Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. And then that's it, right? There's nothing else this year. We talked,
unless Secret Wars at the end, but I don't think it is.
Secret.
Yeah, Ironheart in June, and then I don't see anything. But that's a TV show.
So what I see is I've got Spider-Man 4 in 2026. So Fantastic Four, then Spider-Man 4 in 2026, Avengers Doomsday in 2026.
Yep. So yeah, they're a big gap, which I think is what they need. I think they need the big gap to make you excited to watch a Marvel movie again. Like I think Brave New World, which I know was delayed a bunch, and then Thunderbolts in May, and then Fantastic Four in July, is back to the old days of just too much all at once.
Yeah, but they're gonna have you're talking about the Daredevil show, Ironheart's a show, and this Eyes of Wakanda is a show. They're shows,
right. Yeah, the shows are in between them. Right. But that still counts. It's just too much because I'm super excited for Daredevil. I'll watch Brave New Worlds, then I'll watch Daredevil. And then, like you said, it's like fast food. I'm full at that point. Yeah, it's not like I don't like them, but I'm so overwhelmed by them that I don't care anymore.
So, sorry. No. So I think this is the end of phase 5.
Yeah, the next one's not till Doomsday, unless you count Fantastic Four is in its own world, which I'm sure will.
No, they're saying that Fantastic Four starts off phase 6.
Yeah. And then Doomsday comes out.
Oh, Eyes of Wakanda is an animated show. The films for Phase 6 are Fantastic Four, Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man sequel, whatever it is, and then Secret Wars. And then there's 2 unannounced films.
Don't forget about Blade, which is never coming out.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I'll watch them. But to answer your question, I'm down. I'll watch. I'll see what they're gonna do. I think definitely they've been meandering since Endgame was obviously a good ending to that whole Infinity Saga. But like now they're like, okay, now what? I think they're never going to admit that, but I think they just didn't know what they were going to do, and they fell in love with streaming. They fell in love with the shows and the series, and they kind of do offshoots. They could do Agatha all along. They could do the WandaVision series, but unfortunately, the WandaVision series like affects some of the movies, so you really should watch the series.
I liked WandaVision.
No, I know, but it's.
Oh no, yeah, when they start to affect everything, it's
necessary watching if you're going to understand the Doctor Strange movie, and you're going to understand the other, her motivation for other things too.
You know what it's like a lot? And I know you didn't really, I don't think you really collected comic books a lot as a kid.
I did not.
But like when I used to read my Superman comics, I used to hate, because all I collected was Superman. They'd mention something or something would link up with another story, and there'd be a big yellow box that says, find out what he's talking about if you read issue 2 of 6 of Aquaman. And I'm just like, no, I'm reading Superman. I don't want to get this Aquaman issue. That's what the TV shows feel like, are those big yellow boxes that say, well, if you want to actually understand this comic that you bought, go buy the Aquaman comic.
Yeah.
Like little Disney Plus ads just pop up every time, just like in Bollywood movies when they're smoking on screen, that big text pops up. That should pop up with Disney Plus on there. I just dollar signs.
So this is called, what we're in now is called the Multiverse Saga.
In other words, we don't know what we're doing.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, it's amazing because like Phase 1, 2, and 3, which is the Infinity Saga, goes from 2008 to 2019. It's like 11 years, right?
Right.
This one is right now just 6 years, because it's like Phase 4 is just 2021 to 2022. Phase 5 is 23 to 25, and 6 is 25 to 27. So they are like wrapping this thing up fast. So yeah. Interesting. No. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think we're rambling here, but, we both liked it. I liked it. I think you should check it out. Do you want to spend $20 on a 3D IMAX film? Maybe not.
No, 3D was definitely done after the fact. It wasn't the best 3D.
Yeah.
IMAX though was kind of cool. Some of the explosions and stuff were neat.
Yeah, it was good. It was cool. We didn't pay, so it's fine. Yeah, no, it's definitely worth to go to, and I think it's a nice positive film. So like if you were just like unsure about Marvel movies and we're I know we're 5 years past the quarantine, but that still had lingering effects, going into 21, 22, 23. So I think, are people starting to come back to theaters? I don't know. But I think this is a good like movie where you're like, oh, I'm kind of okay with that. I kind of want to see, the next one, and I want to see Fantastic Four. So maybe it's a nice little springboard for people to get back into it. But who knows? But no, I enjoyed it. So yeah, I mean, do I highly recommend? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I wish I could give you more pizzazz.
It's a ringing endorsement for a Marvel film on Forgotten Cinema. I mean,
if you want to hear, go listen to yet another MCU podcast, man. We break them all down. Mike's on 2 of the Captain America ones, right? You do the first 2.
Yeah, I don't think I was on for Civil War.
Yeah, well, that's because it's Avengers.
Exactly. It's Tony Stark's movie.
Under ruse.
Tony Stark and Black Panther's first movie and Spider-Man's first movie. It just, everything was overshadowed. Captain America.
That's right. They had the huge, that's what I said to you too. Cause in this film, you find out that Bucky Barnes is running for Congress, and it's like, and I imagine that's going to be addressed in cause he's in Thunderbolts, right? I imagine it's going to be addressed there, but it's like, I turned to Mike and I go, you murdered the head of Wakanda. You assassinated Tony Stark's parents, a decorated general in the army or whatever, a decorated army guy. It's like, you're going to run for Congress? Like, I mean, I got to imagine that the attack hats of the other person running is like, this guy's a Russian spy. Hello, I was a Russian spy. He's got a metal arm that could crush me if he doesn't like what I'm saying. Who knows? I thought that was interesting. We'll find out if he wins.
Find out early May. I think he won't.
Well, he probably will win. And then somebody will activate him again, and then he'll just I don't know, steal secrets. I have no idea. Why is he running for Congress?
I have no idea.
Find this out and more in the Multiverse Saga.
The arm also gave him a legal degree.
Probably. What's the nice Wakandan arm now? Yeah, that was the other thing. Like that's the nerd I am when we're watching this and we notice that Sam's wings
do the kinetic thing.
Get go purpley, and I'm like, that's Wakandan armor. And then they say it. I'm like, you don't need to tell me. I already knew. We're like, oh God.
Nerd.
I was like, I know. I was like, come on, Mike, you shouldn't know that. Go play sports. All right. So, so that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we got other now showings out there. I think our next now showing is going to be in March. We're going to be doing the Michael B. Jordan star Ryan Coogler directed horror film Sinners, which the trailer gives way too much away. So we're going to be doing that. Yeah, no, come on. Don't reveal who's going to get turned.
I was so mad when I watched the second trailer. I was just like, I think I told you not to watch it.
I watched it.
And then you were like, yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Whatever. Don't care. Because I wanted to, they didn't really give you an idea of what they were dealing with, and I wanted to know, and then I found out. So
yeah, so then they revealed too much. It's like they didn't reveal enough, and then they revealed way too much.
Yeah. So that'll be our next now showing in March, and then I think the one next we're doing after that is The Accountant 2. And then we got a couple other special things coming up. So hopefully it'll be a busy next couple months for us. Right now on the main show, we've got I think we're in our season 20.
Season 20 is still rolling around. Yep.
Right. We just came out with Den of Thieves, Ad Astra. We got Bottle Shock out now. So check those out. And then we got our lead ups. We're putting out our Alien franchise lead ups. So we did all the Alien films, including the Alien vs. Predator. So check those out as well. Those are on our YouTube channel. Those are YouTube exclusive. So check those out. And we have something forgetting, Mike.
Just keep it on every Wednesday. It's a new episode. Join the Patreon if you want for exclusive episodes. We do our look back series, which is exclusive just for Patreons. Merch discounts, discount store. You got your Things shirt. We just did all the Thing movies. The 1982 version comes out this month, and then the month after that's the 2011 version.
Patreon only.
That's right.
Yeah, so join it, check it out. We have some fun with those, and we got some thoughts on that. And thanks for watching this, and thanks for if you're subscribed. Thanks for being a subscriber and being a fan of the show. We love talking film, so we'll talk with anybody. So drop a comment, and we'll let you know what we think. Until then, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler,
and this has been Forgotten Cinema Now Showing. Do I say the name of the movie? Yeah, whatever.
Usually you do.
Captain America, Brave New World. There you go. Do we do it again?
No, that was fine.
Okay.